What is going on, all of you amazing gamers out there in the world? I am Mega Amster. Thank you for watching this YouTube video, whether you are a new or returning viewer. I appreciate you stopping by, and today I wanted to briefly talk about something that's been on my mind as of late, especially as we get towards the end of the 2025 calendar year for gaming, and that is the idea of games that were announced years ago and take a very long time to come out. Should we still be excited when it comes out? Now, there's no should. It's really the answer. The quick answer to this is yes. Of course, if you're excited for the game, be excited for the game. If you're not excited, don't be excited for the game. But I'm not going to sit here and say that for myself with certain games and other people I've also seen on social media as well, that the hype kind of dies down a little bit if the game's been in development for so long, and especially if you go without hearing about the game for so long. And the main game that spurred this topic for me is Metroid Prime 4. Because currently, as of this upload, obviously this is going to change once the game comes out, we don't know. We know some stuff about this game, right? This game was originally announced back in 2017 with one of the first Nintendo Switch 1 focus presentations. It was at E3 that year, back when E3 was still a thing. And then 2 years later, we got it was just like a teaser logo. 2 years later, we got the announcement that it had been canceled. The original development team, who was rumored to be Bandai Namco, was no longer working on the game, and they brought back Retro Studios to work on it. Fast forward now to 2025. We don't know a release date for this game as of this upload. We just have no idea. They say it's still coming out in 2025. They've had demos playable at Canada Gaming Expo and Gamescom 2025, from what I understand. So people are getting hands-on with this game, but we still don't know when it's coming out. And personally, for me, it's interesting because when this game was first announced in 2017, I, along with many people, were super excited to hear that it was in development, and we're like, oh my god, like, this is coming to Switch 1. Switch 1's about to be awesome. We're finally getting a Metroid Prime 4 follow-up, because it had been since, what, 2007? Since Prime 3? So it had been 10 years since another Prime game was even, like, in the public conscience, but not, besides, like, full course fans. And that was a huge deal. But then we hadn't heard about it for 2 years, and so then we get the announcement that, oh, all of a sudden it's scrap development, we're restarting, and it's like, oh, I mean, like, good to hear that they're restarting, and they were very transparent about it, but it was definitely frustrating as a Metroid fan. And since then, we've had two 2D games release. That year, 2017 in October, we got the remake of Metroid 2, which being is it Return of Samus or Samus Returns? I forget which one's the original, which one's the remake. Definitely let me know in the comments below. But we got that year, that year we got that remake a few months after E3. It was pretty close by. And then we got Metroid Dread back in 2021, another dream game that nobody thought was going to happen, but it did. And lo and behold, that was still 4 years ago as of this upload, so that was still a while ago. And now, fast forward to now, we're now onto the successor of the Switch. We're onto the Switch 2. It is out. It is launched. And we still don't know the exact date for when this is coming out. We just have no idea. And we haven't seen any footage since this April Direct, besides those demos that select people, Impress, and everybody are going hands-on with at, like, Gamescom and Canada Fan Expo. We don't have a lot to go off of. We imagine it's going to be another Metroid Prime because it's Retro working on it again, and it's probably going to be a very good game. But at least for me, and definitely let me know if you feel this way in the comments below, the hype has definitely died off because it's been so long. In that time since this game was originally announced, I've personally become more of a 2D Metroid fan, especially because of Metroid Dread and even the Metroid 2 remake were just so tight and concise. And, like, playing Metroid, we also got Metroid Prime Remastered a few years ago as of this upload in that time. And revisiting that game was so fun. It also made me realize that I think I prefer the pacing and just the gameplay flow of 2D Metroid more now, which is a very personal take, of course, in that time, but I've definitely just become less and less hyped for this game. Like, I'm glad that we're finally getting it, and that Metroid fans can have a new game and be excited for it. To see the Metroid Prime series continue is great. But it's definitely, I can't help but feel that a little bit of that hype has died down. A little bit of that is gone for me personally, and it's like, especially because we don't have any concrete details about, like, when the game's coming out. Supposedly still 2025, but, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets delayed. I know that a lot of people would be mad about that, but I would not be surprised at this point. I mean, time will tell. Maybe it's in, like, December. Who knows? But I don't know. I do wonder if just the longevity of it, because I feel like it can go both ways. a game gets announced and is in development for so long that it becomes notorious for having a reputation, which Prime 4 has had. You know, that reputation. Bayonetta 3 was in a similar situation until that game came out, but that length was nothing compared to what we're seeing with Prime 4, right? A game can either have a notorious reputation to where it's been so long since it was announced for coming out that people get really excited for it, and so now it's almost like transcended into like mainstream, which I don't know if this game quite has, but still. There's that, and there's also the opposite effects that I'm personally experiencing with Prime 4, where it's like, oh, I feel like I'm less excited because so many other games are coming out and have come out since the announcement, where, I don't know, just personally, I think my excitement has died down a little bit, and maybe that'll go back up once we actually find out the release date, we get closer to release. I think that might be the case, because I'm kind of feeling that a little bit with Kirby Air Riders currently. Like, I'm definitely more excited for that game, knowing when it's coming out, but at the moment, it's still kind of tricky. I don't know. So we'll see. Let me know your thoughts on Metroid Prime 4 in the comments below here. I do have a couple more examples I did want to pull upon, and one of those is a very interesting one to talk about right now in this moment, because I actually had this video idea before Team Cherry announced the release date for Hollow Knight Silksong. Now, Hollow Knight Silksong was announced, back in... Was it right after the original? Because the original came out in, 2017? Definitely let me know in the comments below. Maybe even before. And they announced this at least 2019, the latest, I believe they announced this. It might have even been before they announced they were working on a new game. Now we know this game is coming out in 2 weeks as of this upload, or less than 2 weeks, on September 4th of 2025. Just out of nowhere, we had Gamescom news, and Team Cherry themselves decided to be like, hey, this game's coming out in 2 weeks. And, you know, Jason Schreier over at Bloomberg wrote up a great article talking about Silksong and, like, Team Cherry's development of it just today as of this recording. And they were just saying they had too much fun working on it. So unlike Prime 4, this was not a game that was in development hell. And it was kind of the opposite, if anything. The developers, Team Cherry, were just... I mean, they're a small team, first of all, but also they were having so much fun making this game that they kept making it. They kept on going. And as a result, I mean, this is going to be a high quality release. Like, you can already tell that, and I think the fans, it'll be well worth the wait for the fans. But it kind of became a meme, like I was talking about before. Some games are in development for so long, and you have events like especially Jeff Keighley at the Game Awards and Gamescom literally cracking jokes about Silksong not being there, and you have people memeing about it being at Nintendo Directs or Xbox presentations or whatever have you, that it's almost transcended into mainstream about like, oh, Silksong's not gonna be here. Like, now people who have not even ever played the original Hollow Knight, myself included, which I knew I need to fix that, now know what Silksong is by name, and as a result, I think it's going to sell even better than the original probably, and it's probably going to be more popular. So if anything, the long waiting time for this game, I feel like will make it even more played by a variety of gamers, which is great for the team. You know, I think this is a good scenario. But for a while there, you know, I know certain people in our Discord community here were saying, like, they were less excited for this game because it's been so long. That actually wasn't that long ago as of this upload, which is really funny, the timing there. But now all of a sudden it's coming out in 2 weeks. And, like, I imagine for Hollow Knight fans, like, that is some of the best news you could ever hear in the year of 2025, you know? And I'm happy for those fans who are going to be able to finally play this game after it's been in development for so long, because the developers enjoyed making the game, and they just, like, kept on having ideas and, like, really wanted to hone it and craft it and really polish it up. And that's awesome. That's great to see. Like, this is, like, the best case scenario. Like I said, it's like development heaven almost, where, like, these games take a while to make, but, like, the developers are crafting this amazing experience that they really appreciate. It's really the opposite of Prime 4, and I think this will be a great game. Part of me is a little nervous with Prime 4 specifically. I think it'll still be a good game, but I'm a little nervous based on how long it's taken. So we'll see what happens with Prime 4 specifically, but, like, I'm happy for Hollow Knight fans. I definitely imagine some of you, and let me know in the comments below if you feel this way, I'm sure the hype died down a little bit and you were sick of the memes. I'm sure you were, especially if you were waiting for so long and really excited for this game. You know, I bet you that's happened to you. So definitely let me know if it has, and I'm happy for you. I'm happy it's finally coming out officially. You'll be able to play it super duper soon, and it's going to be a fun time. The last one I want to talk about, I don't have a video for this, but I want to go over. Jason Schreier reported on this, and a lot of other sites, such as Kotaku here. We're talking about it, and this is regarding BioShock 4. So this game is interesting because BioShock Infinite came out a while ago, over a decade ago. And supposedly 4 has been in development from 2K Games for a while, but I guess it's changed development teams a lot. And so the most recent team was Cloud Chamber, the studio that was working on the follow-up to Bioshock. Bioshock's very popular. It's probably one of 2K Games' most popular series, besides like the sports games, if I had to guess. So it was cool to hear them working on a new game. And I recently played the original Bioshock myself, and I see why it has a cult following. But there was an internal delay and management shakeup, and now 2K Games has laid off 80 people, which, according to Bloomberg, is roughly like a third of the development team. So to me, this game has been in development for over a decade, but it's going to be even longer now. It's just going to go back into development limbo. And this is the situation that sucks, because it really feels like 2K Games isn't allowing for this game to come out, even though it will probably do well. I know you don't have Ken Levine on it. I know he's working on his own game, Judas, which maybe that'll do well with Bioshock fans, but that game's probably going to come out before Bioshock 4, and no doubt at this point. Who knows when Bioshock 4, if ever. This game could just totally get canned, we won't know. The fate of this game is in limbo, even more so than Prime 4, and I'm curious to see what happens. But it was supposedly been targeting a late 2026 release, but there's no way at this point. It's going to be probably at least 2028, if I had to guess, if it even comes out at all. It really sucks, because it's 200 people. That's almost a third of the studio. And I guess it's gone through multiple iterations, studios, leadership teams, all of that. And that just, it sucks, It sucks that they've gone through this much. And it's like, they're reducing the size of the development team to focus on this work and give the game more development. How is that giving it more time in development if you're reducing the team? If anything, it's going to take longer to make. Well, I guess it's giving you more time. But that's I don't like that. David Ismail, or how you pronounce his name. I don't even care, to be honest. 2K Games said the new Bioshock is good, but not good enough. They have such high stakes because Infinite, I don't know what reputation it has these days, but I know at the time people loved Infinite. And of course, they love Bioshock in general. I think there was an Amazon TV show in the works at some point too, as for most AAA gaming IPs these days. But you hate to hear this. This is worst case scenario. Unlike Hollow Knight Silksong, this is worst case scenario, where you have a very anticipated sequel. It's funny how they're both Prime 4 and Bioshock 4, right? But having multiple teams work on it, and in this case, 2K stepping in and laying off people because the game wasn't up to quality standards. At some point, people aren't going to care anymore. At some point, you should release this game. At that point, it's I don't know. I'm worried about Bioshock 4. I don't know if that'll ever come out. This might be the worst case scenario here, but let me know if you're a fan of Bioshock. Let me know if you're excited for this game. Let me know your thoughts on the layoffs here, and if you even think the game's going to come out. But with that, that's pretty much all I wanted to really talk about here. The main point was Prime 4. I'm cautiously optimistic about Prime 4. I'm really happy for Hollow Knight Silksong fans. And Bioshock 4, I'll pour one out for Bioshock fans out there, because I can see why people love that series now, having played the first game myself recently. And, I want to see it continue for those fans, but hopefully the 2K Games will figure something out. I just hope all the people who were laid off will land on their feet somewhere where they feel steady. But anyways, everybody, that's going to do it for this quick little video talking about the length of game announcements and development and how that impacts our personal excitement and enjoyment of these games. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Does it matter how long a game is in development for? Since announcement to release, does that matter? Is it not a big factor to you? How do you feel about in these cases in particular, as well as others that you can name in the comments below? Otherwise, I'll catch you on the next video or live stream, and until then, keep on gaming.